This is Ivy Brogue back for another week of Journaling the Journey, and this week is going to be covering the book of Numbers. Our story begins in the desert, in the Sinai Peninsula to be exact, and this is exactly where the Israelites have been hanging out now since God freed them from slavery, as you'll recall back in Exodus. So pack the tents, time to get moving, right? No, they're not going to. First, God's going to need to do some housekeeping. He tells Moses and his brother Aaron to take a census, and that's really what the book of Numbers is about. Count up all the guys from the 12 tribes of Israel who are 20 and older, then all the men who are over 1 month old, but only from the tribe of Levi, and then firstborn sons, and on it goes. So at this point, there's a lot of counting involved, hence the name of the book, Numbers. So all these numbers are they're going to come in pretty handy later. The Israelite men over 20 will be expected to go to war. And the Levites, on the other hand, would not. They're going to be in charge of the tabernacle, which basically is a tent that serves as God's dwelling place while everyone is en route to the promised land. So after God makes clear various expectations for the temple, for everyday life, from diseases to death, etc., they set out on this journey. And God guides them along with a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud, which is pretty amazing. I can't even imagine seeing that with my own eyes. God guides them along the way, and things pretty quickly go bad when the people start complaining along the way, which is kind of hard to imagine why they would be complaining, because they were slaves, and in this land of slavery, they've convinced themselves somehow that it would be better if they were back there. And God's like, that's no good. There's no food, it's too hot, my feet hurt, so-and-so pushed me, it's just endless complaining. Needless to say, God's not amused, and he ends up disciplining them. And when the group finally gets to the promised land, Moses sends 12 spies to basically scout things out and find out, hey, what's this home going to look like? And essentially, even though two of the spies, Joshua and Caleb, were like, this is awesome, they were totally psyched out of their minds about it, the rest of the spies, not so much. And the community, they're not too impressed with their odds because the people there and more complaining. So it seems like they're basically going to have to go to war now against some pretty tough folks in order to get a hold of this new real estate. The people doubt that this campaign is going to be successful, and basically God won't allow any of the people counted in the first census to even step foot in the promised land because of their faithlessness. And honestly, that is, to me, the most significant aspect of the book of Numbers. Is they basically complained, and God's like, I'm not gonna deal with that level of faithlessness. And that's a huge lesson for us today. God takes faithlessness pretty seriously. After God deals with the faithless, they fight and they win wars, which is awesome, yay. And then Aaron dies, which is sad. And then Moses appoints Joshua as his successor. So just as that we're about to venture into this promised land, though, the curtain closes, and it leaves us kind of hanging a little bit until we reach the book of Joshua, which is going to be coming in a couple of weeks. So it's really an incredible book. It seems like it could be boring because it's a lot of numbers, but it really is a pretty amazing journey, and there are some lessons to be learned about what happens when we complain and what happens when we're faithless in our relationship with God. So enjoy this week of Journaling the Journey, and thanks for joining me.